I just bumped my little toe in the box before picking up to bring it upstairs, which confirmed what I knew all along, that the little toe is just an evolutionary mistake. We shouldn't have it. It's there just for us to hurt ourselves. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, theinkedreader. Today we have the first haul of 2025. We have some books I have purchased while out and about, and then we have a sci-fi box that you saw from my thumbnail. And yeah, it's a haul. We all know what it is, right? So I'm just gonna start with the scattered books, and then we're gonna open up the box. So let's start with a box set of actually a series of books that I did not think I would reach out for, because I tend to not read books if I already watched the movie version of it. However, because I realize it has been like more than a decade, we are hitting the decade, if not more, since I've watched the movies, and I keep listening to reviews for these, people praising them, putting them in their favorite of the year, at least the first couple of books, or the first book especially, that I thought, it's been enough time, your memories are fuzzy, you don't remember all the details, and it's like the mark where my brain just gets rid of stuff after 10 years or something. So I decided that actually there was scope for me to go ahead, purchase them and experience them, maybe completely not with, you know, a blank state, but with very scattered memories, enough I could enjoy. And I do not remember actually who the killer was for the first book. So I'm talking about the Hannibal series by Thomas Harris. I do not know 100% what the correct order is. I do believe it's The Red Dragon, in which you follow a detective trying to catch a serial killer that butchers entire families. Then we have the very famous Silence of the Lambs, and then we have Hannibal and Hannibal Rising, I believe. I think that's the order. I'm not sure if Red Dragon or the Silence of the Lambs. It might be the opposite. It might be the Silence of the Lambs is the first and Red Dragon is the second. I will figure it out. Goodreads will help me out with these. And yeah, I think it does not need really an introduction. The Hannibal series, I hope not. But if so, you are following detectives, trying to solve cases, or one detective in particular, a couple of detectives, and they are aided by actual serial killer, a cannibal. And yeah, there is a very good movie with Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins. Then I have a book that I don't know if it's gonna work out for me. I have listened to a few reviews by now, and I don't know, it could go both ways. I just hope it doesn't go in the middle. I hope that at least it doesn't just become one of those, yeah, it was okay. But I'm talking about I Who Have Never Known Men. So this is, I think it's speculative fiction, how would you call it? I don't even know. Almost like dystopian. You follow these 39 women kept prisoners underground or secluded away from the world, so they don't have sense of time, they know only each other, they have no perception of the outside world, and then you follow one of them actually trying to, and hopefully succeeding in helping them escape. And I guess from the title that these women are kept in such solitude that they have actually not known men, that they're just, you know, the only reality that they have experiences among them, among, you know, a group of women. But we will see. I don't know anything else about these. I have heard that it's quite it's not big, but it's slow, and that's what scares me. It's a slow story, but hopefully it packs a punch. Then we have a classic, Catch-22. Now, since I moved here, I have lost counts of how many times people refer to stuff in everyday life. I always a Catch-22, right? And when I found out that actually the origin of that, you know, everyday sentence was a book, and I found this at WHS the other day, I was like, I need to read the book, because if people adopt that sentence, adopt that kind of phrase, their way of saying in their everyday life, people that have never read a book in their life, it means that this book had such an impact. It's such like a powerful effect that this book had, that I was definitely intrigued, and I decided that I wanted to know the origin, why, you know, Catch-22 had become such a bestseller, and then the kind of like then influenced people all over the world, at least English speaking people. with this sentence. And yeah, so I want to know, it's a novel about World War II. It's about a man who, doesn't matter what he does in the situation, he is a bombardier. How do you pronounce it? Bombardier. I have no idea how to pronounce it correctly, but basically there is no win for him. No matter what he does, he's pretty much screwed. And so yeah, it's been blurred by Stephen King, Harper Lee, the Observer, Guardian, like so much praises. And again, despite all the blurs, what really attracts me to this book is getting to the bottom of how come this became so popular that now is being used, all over as a catch. It's a catch-22. I heard so many times. So yeah, I'm curious about these. I also heard that it's quite touching, but at the same time quite humoristic. And I do like when you blend, a story that is definitely tragic because it's World War II. So I'm sure that there are going to be very hard-hitting moments, but also I hope to get some laughs and to finally get why, to just be able to appreciate a book. It was so powerful that entered everyday speech for pretty much, everyone who speaks English. Another one that I'm very actually curious to read, and I do think I'm gonna, at the time you're watching this, I've already started it or I'm about to start it. It's City of Thieves by David Benioff. Now, Mr. Benioff I need to redeem him in my eyes after season 8 of Game of Thrones. He is one of the producers, if I remember correctly, of the show of Game of Thrones. And he also wrote a novel, which I had no idea until I went on booktube, and booktube did its magic, and people kept, I've seen a couple of people talking about this book. I became curious, and it sounded like quite actually intriguing. It's a historical fiction, World War II again, and it's about two guys that they meet in prison. They are in Leningrad, which is at the time when this book takes place going like extreme deprivation, and they can either be executed or they can accept to go on this impossible mission to find a dozen eggs for a general to put in his daughter's wedding cake. And so of course they take the opportunity, but it is easier said than done. And I'm really fascinated by the premise, this idea of everyday goods that nowadays, for us finding a dozen eggs would just be walking down the supermarket, right? But in the time things were completely different, and so I'm really eager. I really have great expectations for this book, so we will see. I do have very good vibes, very good feelings. And then another one that I'm going to read very, very soon is We Used to Live Here. The reason why I want to read this very, very soon is because people keep talking about it, and I definitely do not want to risk getting spoiled. And this is a thriller horror. And it's about this family. They're moving in this new house. One day someone knocks at the door. It's the family that previously lived there, and they ask them, can we enter, can we go inside and see our old house? And I don't know why, but they accept, they let the family in, and then all I know that after that it becomes crazy pretty soon. I don't know if it's a haunted house, I don't know if it's a home invasion situation, I don't know if it's just, cosmic horror. I have no idea whatsoever. Cosmic horror probably is a far-fetched option, but that said, I have no idea what to expect. And I think it's a short read. I heard great things about the audiobook, but I tend to get a bit distracted with audiobooks, and a book like this, I do hope it's one of those kind of psychological situations where you don't know what's happening until the very end, and I hope that the twist slaps me in the face and I have to do a 360 for how much shocking it is. For how much people are praising this, I am expecting to be blown away. So yeah, I need to avoid spoilers, so I need to jump on this pretty quickly. And funny story, I actually did try the audiobook for this, and I got another book. There is another book on script called We Used to Live Here. I thought it was this one. I listened to it. I was like, okay, this is just okay. It's just 3 stars. It's not that mind-blowing. And then I realized I had the right title but the wrong author. Anyway, okay, so then we have a couple of non-fiction. We have Emperor of Rome by Mary Beard. I have read her SPQR before, which is the story of the city of Rome, and this is the story of the Emperor of Rome. Now, my question, which I have not been able to find an answer, is this about different emperors of Rome, The title wouldn't suggest so. The title would suggest it's just one. But I don't know what to expect. I know that when I read SPQR, I was fascinated, but at the same time let down, because I thought like, loved learning about Rome as a city and its history. And again, if I was in Italy, to be fair, probably I would reach out for an Italian author because we're talking about Italian history, right? But I think she did an amazing job with telling the story. It was extremely detailed. Yet it was so extremely detailed that I thought that some of the more juicy parts, like, you know, the actual life and stories of emperors, of, you know, the people who end up ruling, the emperors and so on, were kind of, we're not there. We're not there. It was all about the everyday life. And in Inside, I appreciated that, but I feel like I want to read more. I want to read now the other side, you know, the more juicy parts if you want. And definitely the Emperor of Rome. Sounded like it's filling the gaps. We learn a lot of Roman history in school, but it's been 20 years now since I was in school. And I did not study more in-depth at university Roman history. So I feel like I want to know more about Rome, which is a beautiful city. And yeah, I'm going to read that one. And also another non-fiction I have is The Templars by Dan Jones. This is a book about the Templars, one of the most wealthy, secretive military order that ever existed. It's shrouded in mystery and conspiracy theory and everything that comes with it. I know very little about the Templars. All I've got about the Templars are from movies, like the Da Vinci Code. Is it the Templars in the Da Vinci Code? Am I misremembering? I could be, but anyway, it just comes from thriller movies usually. All I know about them, and I think I am someone who likes to know stuff. I don't know anything, and I think this book could potentially enlighten me. And the last chunk, we really don't need to go in any details about this. If you have seen my bookshelf tour for 2025, you might have noticed that I am now dedicating a shelf to Stephen King, mostly to Stephen King. And I decided that there are these kind of new, I don't know if they are new, but there are these kind of paperback editions that I really enjoy of the Stephen King books. So what I am doing is I'm getting his books from the charity, and usually Stephen King's books from the charity are barely still stitched together, so they are in miserable conditions. But Stephen King has written like 1,000 books, and I find myself as someone who really enjoys some of them, but not all of them. So I do want to collect the ones I particularly enjoy in these editions. I don't necessarily feel like I need to have them all. At the moment, I'm also a book collector, so I probably will change my mind on that. But at the moment, I basically, when I'm out, if I come across a book shop, and if I have one of those like titles I've already read and really enjoyed, I purchase it. So I found 4 books I've already read by Stephen King that I wanted in this edition. I'm going to show you the spines, so this is what I mean. I like these editions of the Stephen King books. At the moment are the best. I think they are currently being published like in these editions. So I did find Carrie, his first novel, and I really enjoy Carrie. I also found Pet Sematary, another one that I really enjoyed. I've never met someone who likes Stephen King has not enjoyed Pet Sematary. I have met though a lot of people that do not enjoy his books that still would recommend Pet Sematary. So yeah, read Pet Sematary, and also The Shining is one of my, it's probably to these days my favorite Stephen King, together with Pet Sematary. But The Shining probably takes a cake. And so I found The Shining and Dr. Sleep. All of those I have already read, so they just need to go on my Stephen King shelf. And I love how they're doing like in different shades, so like I can do a bit of like color scheme. Okay, we're opening these. There are a couple of books in here that I need to gift to my friend. I promised I would get him some horror, and so a couple of things are not for me, but all the rest it is for me. And it took a bit of took longer than usual, and I think it's because one of the titles is a bit difficult to find, and so yeah, they took a couple of weeks to send those off, which they usually are a bit better with sending things quicker. There are no manga or graphic novel in this order, but do not worry, my birthday is coming up at the end of next month. Okay, managed. This is the huge box. let me see. Why it's so big? I didn't order a lot of stuff, so I don't know why it's so huge. Oh. Got tons of bookmarks. Sci-fi is always very generous with these. And then here are the books. Let's see it. Put them down. How are they? Okay, they're combined like this. So I do like sci-fi because they have a lot of titles and they have weekly and daily deals. So we got the first bundle. Let's start with these. Let me see what I've got. The one goal I had for 2025 was to purchase one Terry Pratchett library like hardcover edition of the Discovered series. I've read all the Discovered. I have done a video on my channel that I can't find anymore. I've tried to link it down below. I will try again, but I can't find it. But I want to collect the Discovered in a certain edition because I do want my child to have it, and I want to reread it eventually. It's one of my favorite series. So yeah, I need to collect all books in the same edition because I'm like that. So let's see what's inside. I'm opening these. They really package it well, I must say. And a couple of titles I actually got. I wouldn't have gotten a full price, but they were like £2 maybe because of, again, their daily deals. So I'm not sponsored by them at all. They have no idea who I am. But I enjoy the fact that they have lots of deals. So first of all, we have Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. I have finished the first trilogy and I need to continue on with the Ship of Magic, and finishing Robin Hobb series this month really concentrated the fact that I love her writing, and so I know that at a certain point this year I will reach out for her writing, and this is a brick. I can use this to actually harm someone. But you know, likely it's gonna end up on my feet at some point and I'm gonna hurt only myself. Then we have Promise of Blood. Okay, so this one actually need to reread and continue on with this series. It's a trilogy and I never continued on past book number 1. I don't remember anything about the plot. I only remember that this is a fantasy. I'm gonna pop it here. I was basically researching subgenre of fantasy and this popped out as one of the most prominent or famous in that subgenre of fantasy. So I found this in the library, read it, liked it enough, purchased the second book, never continued on. And now I realize it's been like 10 years. So I need to go back and I need to reread the first book and continue on. And this is about someone who's trying to overthrow a king, and it's not easy. Also, the gods might be coming back and walk on earth. We will see. I will reread this though. I remember a few scenes, but very scattered. So need to read that. One I've purchased because it was like £2 and I heard about this before. It's The Body Snatchers by Jack Finney, and I really enjoy this kind of sci-fi version they did by Gollands. And yeah, this is about this small town. At one point the people in the town start realizing that their family, their relatives, they don't think actually they are their real relatives. Someone is taking their body and becoming them, but that's not really them. So yeah, The Body Snatchers, I think it's about, you know, it's a sci-fi, probably aliens taking over other people's bodies, and I hope it's quite horrific. Bear with me because it has been a long day. And so the synopsis is quite difficult for this, but the free body problem. Now, I know there is a Netflix show, but again, I did not want, if you watched the beginning of this video, I did not want to fall in the same trap of watching something, liking it, and then regretting not having read the book first. So all I know, this is about a police detective that he needs to investigate a series of suicides that happen in a scientific community. So he needs to infiltrate this kind of group of scientists. And for a series of events, he finds himself embroiled in a online game that's very weird, and it's based on the interaction of his 3 sons. And I do not know how this works exactly. I think this is going to be quite a complex plot and I hope I can keep up. And then I have my Terry Pratchett book for this month, for January, which is The Light Fantastic. I will try to go in order, but I believe this one was in the discount for, you know, it was daily deal or weekly deals. It's one of the shortest in the Disco Board series, and so I got this one. Disco Board is made up of sub-series, so you can read them as standalones, but I would really suggest to going to chronological order. This is part of a Unseen University collection, so you follow Rincewind trying to prevent a collision with a Red Star. This is a humoristic high fantasy. Terry Pratchett has invented the disco board. It's a word in itself. However, he uses this disco board and these characters that will stick with you for a very, very long time, if not forever. He uses them to discuss a lot of very relevant to our world topics, and it does it making you laugh. So yeah, disco board, I'm so glad I've got this in my hands. One thing I must say about these editions, they get ruined very, very easily. So I am actually glad that now I will just purchase them, keeping them there, and next time I'll try to read them. I will be more careful, because it took me a few to bring. I used to bring them around with me to read them on the go, and the spine got a bit ruined. So yeah, just be careful, don't be me, basically. And the last stack we have, I'm trying to get it out. I think these are the hardcovers, isn't it? Or like the big books. The big books. So there should be like my friend books in here as well. So actually for me, we are almost done. We have my book pick first. So we have my book club pick, was my choice this month, and I chose The Will of the Many. So I'm gonna read with my book club The Will of the Many, and I've heard, needless to say, only fantastic things about The Will of the Many. I have very vague ideas about the plot. I know that it is almost like it takes place in an academy. It's Roman Empire based, but you follow this guy attending this academy and he's trying to solve a murder or something. So it's like almost the Roman time Dark Academia thing. I don't know, I'm intrigued. It's not something that usually with my book club we read. It's very far from their comfort zone. I am the only fantasy reader, and I for a second felt a bit guilty of making them all read a fantasy book, but also not guilty, because I really hope it's a banger. We will see. But we will have many. I am reading these probably after I finish Jade War, which is what I'm reading right now. Then we have the Trials of the Empire, and actually before that we have the Tyranny of Faith. So I have, are they the same dimension? I don't think they are. That's the thing with sci-fi, they have so many editions that you easily get the wrong edition if you don't order them all together. So I wanted to finish this series. The first one, which is The Justice of Kings, I enjoyed. I enjoyed it more after finishing it than while going through it. And I know that these are direct sequels, so this concludes the trilogy. I try to kind of be a bit better finishing series. So because I started the other one, that, you know, the first book I started in 2024, let me see if in 2024 I can finish this series. And I've pre-ordered with the broken binding the subsequent series that had an amazing spread pages preview. So yeah, I got that, and I said then I need to finish the other series at least to justify me purchasing the broken binding special edition of the next installment in the same world. I think it takes place in the same world, but it's a different story. So yeah, finishing these two, they've been quite popular, and yeah, I'm glad that actually I got the hardcovers for a reasonable price. Okay, but actually I am missing one book, sci-fi. I need to ask them where that is, because I got from my friend House of Leaves, which is funny enough because I did get rid of my copy because I did not like this book. However, knowing my friend, knowing that he likes cosmic horror, and I think he's going to enjoy the fact that he will need to research on how to read this book. And I think that I read this book at the wrong time. I hope that I had more experience in reading horror and that I would approach this book now for the first time. I wonder if I would enjoy it more. I'm not saying I will not purchase a copy for myself and reread it. I'm still debating it. I think with House of Leaves is basically as a story that it's told in a very weird format, but also it is a story that it's almost like in two timelines. You got a timeline about this family entering a house that's bigger on the inside than it is from the outside, and that was a 5-star horror story for me. What I hated was the current timeline, which is, you know, this man who finds a manuscript, I believe, about the family experience, and he's trying to sort out what it means and everything, and that part I hated. So it was a 1-star versus a 5 stars, and in the middle I probably end up giving this like 2.5, 3 stars. But again, I had not watched videos on how to read this properly. I had not read at the time as much horror as I have now. I might experience it differently. I just really hope that my friend will have a good time at least like unpacking these and sorting out how to read these, you know, the best way possible. But I am missing another book that I purchased from him that it's not in this box, so I need to go and ask Sci-fi where my book is, don't I? Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you if you read any of those, what you thought. Do you think I'm gonna enjoy them? And no spoilers, hopefully I will, and I'm already looking forward to putting my next order for my birthday at the end of February. If you're new, I would love for you to subscribe, stick around the small community, chat with me in the comments down below. I'll see you next time. Go well. Ciao!